Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Leaders Lens. I'm your host, Ashley Martin, CEO of Leadership Lady. We're here again giving you relevant insight from some remarkable leaders. I have here today a phenomenal woman. Her name is Shakeia Kegler. She is the CEO and founder of Govlia. She is a Navy veteran and a boss lady extraordinaire, multiple pitch winner. Welcome, Shakeia. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you for having me, girl. Don't gas me like that, though.
You know, if anybody's gonna be a hype lady, it's gonna be me. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for agreeing to be here today to share your journey and your story. How did you become this phenomenal? And I say phenomenal because I really mean that in every sense of the word. Founder and CEO of Govlia. And I want you to tell the people a little bit about what it is. How'd you get here?
I will definitely tell you. Getting here was really like a journey, but I'll tell you what Govlia is. So Govlia is a business to government marketplace, and we are removing the barriers to entry into government contracting by simplifying the process. So usually businesses would have to navigate multiple different websites to figure out how to sell to the government. With our platform, a business will have the ability to create one profile one time that they can use to get registered, certified, and do business with multiple government agencies in one platform. So completely transforming that process. And it has been a journey. But getting here prior to, starting the work that I'm doing at Govlia, while I was serving active duty, I purchased supplies on behalf of my department. And I was managing our operational budget just for my department of 300 people alone. And I was managing $400,000 operating budget just for my department. So it was a eye-opening, experience because I was able to realize how much money the government spends. And, yes, it's different from the federal and the state and local side. But it just opens your mind up to these opportunities. Like when you think about starting a business or you think about growing your business, most people don't think about scaling to the government. They think about, how do I reach more consumers? How do I reach more businesses? But also seeing this as, a opportunity to do business and grow your business was eye-opening for me, because I was able to see exactly, the work that they were doing and how much they were spending. I was buying products. So, separated from the military, and I started working at a pharmaceutical company, doing the opposite, helping them sell their products and their services to the VA. And from there, I just continued to research and figure out how it works on the other side, right? As a purchaser, you don't really know what the business owners are going through. You don't know what these companies, the processes that are in place, but you don't know how they're navigating and that type of stuff. So really seeing how the other side does it, and immediately start realizing the benefits of woman-owned business programs, minority-owned or disadvantaged business programs, and veteran-owned business programs. So the different certifications and how they have funds that are set aside for those particular businesses. Wow. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm special out here, right? Let me go get some of this special money. So just being able to go through that process and get certified, it was, because I came from a background that was paper, intensive. We're thinking about any aspect of the contractors. Most contractors are trade contractors, right? They are doing the work with their hands, and they just so happen to have a business, or, especially for smaller businesses, they don't necessarily always have that administrative staff who will be able to take the time and go through those processes. And then I was able to realize at the state and local level that it was completely decentralized. Everyone had completely different processes in place. I live in Broward County. Broward County has 31 cities, including the county. That's 32 completely different processes that a business would have to follow just to do business in their own county. Well, if they wanted to do business with every city and the county in that county. So, that was the approach that I took, and how we actually, how I actually started Govlia. So.
Right. Just really streamlining things, making it a lot easier for business owners and I would imagine the government too.
On their end, they don't see it because they have solutions that are tailored for their particular job. But a lot of these solutions, they leave out that business user experience aspect of it. So that's where we step in. So we would be able to be that platform that makes it easy on the business side, but it makes it easier for the government agencies to engage with these businesses. Because the problem is that they have these funds that are set aside and they have these goals to meet, but they're not meeting these goals when it comes to purchasing from minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses, or just some programs only have minority and women-owned businesses. So they're not meeting these goals because that engagement component is not there. They basically just have a database of information that no one's utilizing. So that's where the difference between what Govlia does and what other solutions are doing. Like, we are that supplier diversity and engagement component, not just supplier diversity management. So
right. Talk a little bit more about that engagement piece and why it's so important for people to be able to engage those that they're building, not just personal relationships, but business relationships, just in general. Why is that so important?
Listen, the component, like the way of being able to just have a conversation with someone, like the way we connected at the event, right? We connected at the event. We were engaging with each other. Even if we weren't talking every single day, we were engaging with each other through social media, through, just text messages or our group chats or things like that. Like, we were continuously engaging with one another. So it makes it easier for you to be that person to come to mind when I think of leadership. Like, oh yeah, I know someone who has a leadership academy, or I know X, Y, and Z. But also, being able to stay engaged with for agencies being able to stay engaged with their vendors, it allows them to have a larger pool of businesses that they can work with. And for the businesses, it makes sure that they are, staying up to date on different opportunities and things that are available. So the engagement aspect is key to any relationship that you're trying to build, whether it's with an individual or it's with a business.
Right, absolutely. Take notes, y'all. Take notes. Especially future leaders and business owners, take notes. Extremely important to keep people engaged. A lot has happened over the course of the year. Things we never anticipated. Things some people did anticipate. And things finally happened. Pandemic, a lot of activism, economy doing things that we haven't seen or heard about in years. How has this impacted the work that you do?
So it's impacted the work that we do in two different ways. One, it's amplified the message of the work that we are doing because, unfortunately, we had the death of George Floyd, but we also had a lot of calls to, removing or eliminating systemic racism or institutionalized racism, and removing policies that also perpetrate this type of behavior, right? So for us, it helped in that aspect of people being able to see, like, this is really a problem. Like, no, this isn't just a crazy lady saying that it's a problem. Like, this is really a problem. So it allowed a lot of people, a lot of agencies to see, a lot of people and agencies to see that, but also on the aspect of COVID, governments they are notorious for being slow to implement anything, slow to implement solutions, slow just to make change in some type of way, or not even make change, slow to change in some type of way and to evolve. COVID actually forced a lot of people's hand on that because we were still doing in-person meetings. We were still having inspections. We were still dropping our certification paperwork and applications off to the Office of Economic Development, right? So we were still doing those things. So it really forced them to see, okay, we have to get with the times, right? We need to be able to implement some type of technology to streamline and make these processes easier. And, just ultimately, they did it for the cause of not contracting a virus, but it was able to help us in some way, shape, or form. So I feel like everything is it's a two-headed coin, right? It's also like extremely terrible, but it forces someone to do something. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of people said that, this was the best time that they had in business. A lot of people also lost their jobs. A lot of people were homeless. A lot of people are still trying to find their way. Like,
Right.
what's next? So, for me, I say for the work that we've done, it's advanced it. But it was also a downside because in terms of economics, right? Cities and counties are low on budgets. They don't really have the money right now to really pay for some things. They have money, but they only want to really focus on infrastructure. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But yeah, like just that whole like conversation. So it was a matter of people really realizing, we have these issues and we have these things that we need to work towards. How do we fix it? So
Right.
that's
Wow. And I mean, I hear you 100%. This the challenge is kind of like the rose and the thorn, right? For some it's a rose and then they have some thorns, and for some it's very thorny. But
exactly.
a lot of right, right. And of course our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers go out to anyone who's experiencing challenge. I think we've all been some way, shape, or form challenged
Mhm.
by what we've all experienced collectively.
Of course.
But what's interesting is that at the same time in challenge, sometimes opportunity arises, and a lot of things get birthed out of those different things.
Exactly. That is that.
So, so I'm curious as to something that you've dealt with outside of our current times that you've had to kind of just face in life and how you've overcome that.
So just in life or in business, like that's
Either
two.
or. It's either or. What do you think?
Um,
Either or.
So one thing, and I'm gonna give two things because I feel like it's one of those things where we have to speak to it more to let people know that it's very common. So for me, the first thing that I felt like I had to overcome in business, but also like partially in life as well. This is where the two combine, but that whole conversation around imposter syndrome,
Wow.
right? When I've realized what imposter syndrome was, so just as an explanation, so imposter syndrome is basically that feeling of I don't know everything, I don't have it all, I'm not good enough, or I'm not there yet, or I'm like, so we were on a call speaking about raising capital today, and a lot of the businesses were more of like, I don't have the traction yet, like I'm not ready for this yet. But it's less about just always being prepared, but really just realizing that no one's always prepared. Like, we're all trying to figure this out. Like, it's okay to learn in the process. That's the biggest lesson that I feel like it helped me a lot, because you don't have to. We see a lot of people, being in a position and saying like, oh, I know this, I know that, I know this. But the thing is, it's okay not to know everything. Like, honestly, like, I can't really trust a person who knows every single thing. Like, that's just how I feel about certain situations or conversations. But for you, like, in general, it took me to, well, for you, but for me, it took me realizing that it's okay to learn in the process, but also it's okay not to know everything. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't really know that, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to find the answer and I'll get back with you. Or if not, I don't really know that, but if you run across it, please let me know, because I would love to be like, you do not have to know everything. Don't worry about being wrong. Like, if something comes, look, I'm getting passionate, so the professionalism had went out the window at this point. But don't worry about being wrong. Like, we are all wrong at some point, and not even just wrong. Like, there is no wrong. Like, you take that and you turn it into a learning situation. So for me, that was one of the biggest things that I felt I had to deal with in business, but also just in life as well. And especially being in a space where, most of the people who I'm approaching in terms of, the work that we're doing with Govlia are older individuals who have been working for the government for 20 plus years. And I'm coming in telling them, basically, you're doing your job wrong. Like, how do you approach a conversation like that? But then also, just being in a space in the tech space, which is a male dominated industry as well, like a dominated space. How do you, come in? Like, it was just so many different components of
Right.
Showing up and just not feeling like not feeling like you deserve to be there. You know, every space that you are in there for a purpose. You got there for a purpose, right? I mean, you got there because of something, and you deserve to be in that space, and you need to stand in that, right? Lean into that. So
Right. Wow. You hit the head on the nail in a couple of things. One, you do not have to know everything, people.
no,
It, like, we are constantly learning something. That's, that's some of the work that I do, and I love it. We learn something new every day. You're constantly learning. You constantly have to sharpen your saw. So it's okay to not know everything. Is what
yeah,
she said. Um, and that imposter syndrome, just the feeling like of belonging is kind of what I see and I hear also. Just, how do you reduce that feeling of not feeling like you don't belong somewhere
yeah.
when you've worked hard for it?
Right.
You stayed up late. You practiced those pitches. You had those meetings.
Exactly.
You went through all those tech bugs. Like, you deserve to be there.
Look, you
So,
cried those tears. We're gonna make sure we throw all of them.
right.
You made all of those phone calls when people said no. Like, you did that. So
Right.
keep all of that, that part that no one wants to talk about. Like, I'm sorry, girl. Keep going.
You're good. No, this is it. And these are the kinds of things that those that are watching, they need to hear and they need to know and they need to see, because sometimes you can see someone in a certain place or see a certain level of success that they've had, and people will assume that it was just a cakewalk. And for some people, it is a cakewalk. I believe there's a level of comfort in knowing that you have in your role, right? But there's also different things that, especially business owners, you have to deal with.
Yeah.
So many different things you do have to deal with. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us, because people definitely need to know those types of things. What's a week like in your shoes?
Oh man, a week now is comprised of meetings, demos, and coming up with marketing strategies or different approaches to things. So that's what my weeks are comprised of. Yeah, that's what my weeks are right now. So meetings and demos.
Meetings and demos. And I could imagine, like, when you first started off, was it completely meetings and demos?
No, it was literally just doing everything that I could. But now we've gotten to a space of where our focus is more revenue as opposed to structuring the business. So we don't have to think so much about the operational components and things right now, because we've gotten those things into place. We've streamlined a lot of those things. So it's more about that in-person connection, that engagement, right? It's more about those things, and really taking more advantage of those opportunities to build relationships, opportunities to speak about the work that we're doing, and then also just opportunities to share and show the technology, the software, just being able to do that. So I've honestly, this is a space that I wanted to be in. Like, everything else that we had to do, like getting up to this point, the development of the software, the meetings late night with the developers, like all of that information, or the interviews, for the product market research, that stuff.
Right.
That stuff, I was just like, okay, like, I'm ready to build and sell something like now. So this is a space where I really was waiting to get to. I will be honest, like, it's not what I expected it to be. But it is an enjoyable process, so yeah.
That's good. And it's good for people to know that throughout different phases of your business, that your time changes. And even as a leader, if you're a leader and you're working for somebody else, as your roles shift or as you get promoted or as you grow or things expand, how you use your time changes. And the
Exactly.
feelings that you have around those different things change.
I was loving the idea of the demos and talking about the products and like everything. And don't get me wrong, like, I love sharing about the work that we're doing.
Right.
But sometimes I'm just like, you gonna buy this or no? Like this.
Yeah, yeah, you
It's
have
some
both. You have
days,
our master me, right?
right? Like some days are just different from others, and other days I'm like, let me show you. Like, oh my God, let me show you. Like, I'm just so excited. But some days are different.
Right,
You can't have it all one way. I will say
right, right. Oh wow, that's important for them to know.
that.
How does Shakeia take care of Shakeia?
Ooh, I've gotten so much better with this. And I'll say this, I'm very excited to share because last year, like I was just doing, working, and then boom, I done hit a brick wall. Like I done burnt myself out and I literally can barely check an email. Like it literally like to that point. So I did experience, like, of course, I know a lot of people did because of like COVID, and you work a lot more at home and like all type of stuff. So, I start feeling like a little depressed, and
Hmm.
I've been doing Govlia for 3 years, and when I started the company, this is another thing too. Expectations, y'all. Don't set them too high. No, I'm just kidding. Keep your goals, keep your expectations, because it helps you to grow towards them. And it just, the timeline may shift, may change, but keep your goals. But I've been doing Govlia for 3 years. We started out doing consulting work and just expanded and evolved into a tech company. So things changed from where I was before. And I would just say, girl, it was a lot.
Right.
So it was a lot that I was going on that time. So I wasn't taking care of myself as much last year, and I continuously ran into that brick wall. I continuously hit that wall. So it wasn't until like the end of the year when I was like, you know what, I have to do something. I have to take better care of me so I don't continuously hit this wall, and decided to really implement things that would force me to take time off, like force me to take time for me. So I shifted to only like my schedule in terms of meetings. I only schedule meetings on certain days. I only, talk to people who only do demos on certain days, or I cut the weekends off completely. I do not pick up my computer on the weekends anymore unless I know I have to. But you have to force yourself to do it. Um, you have to force yourself to do it by routine. So that way, if you pick it up one weekend, like it's like, oh, well, I got to work this weekend. It's not like a consistent thing. Like, oh, I'm working on the weekends and like that. And that's just for me. I'm not telling everyone that they have to do that, but find time to rest, because this is always is the business is not going nowhere. The same way that job didn't go nowhere when you were working, right? The business is not going anywhere. Like is the work is going to be there. So you need to find time for yourself. So that way, if you are, good, the business can be good. You have to be able to make sure that you're good to be productive. Otherwise, you have to take a week off, or you have to take 2 or 3 weeks off, just depending on where you are and how things are progressing. So I will say, take care of you first. Please take care of you first, because otherwise, nothing else is going to fall into place. So.
Right. That's important. It's important. And what I keep just hearing is just discipline from you. Just discipline. There's a certain level of discipline that you have that, that is needed. And I believe all business leaders, and just leaders in general, even if you don't have the title, you still need that level of discipline to create the right routines in your life so that you're not burning yourself out. Because, like she said, if you're not
Mhm.
good,
The
what
business.
everything else is not.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
going to be. So it's important that you build those things into your life and your routine. Yeah,
Yes.
this
Yes.
has been awesome, Shakia. If you could give people who are listening and watching 3 pieces of advice, what would they be?
Whew. Be kind to yourself.
Mm.
That's my first one. I have always been notorious for being, you know, setting high goals to achieve. And then when I didn't, necessarily achieve them, I was always very hard on myself. Like, oh, you didn't do this. You could have did this. I've always been very hard on myself. But even just sometimes, like some things you just don't know about, or even if you do, like just anything, just be kind to yourself. If you don't meet that $100,000 threshold this year, just it's not because you're not good enough or you're not this, you're not that. Be kind to yourself. That's the one thing that I will say. And also, that was another thing too. When I was experiencing my burnout phases, I was unkind to myself as well. I was like, you're not doing no work, like blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind to yourself because your body has already told you like you need to chill, right? Don't let your mind, don't let your brain force you to do something that your body's not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of situation. But and then the next one, it would be try to automate as many business processes you can early.
That's good.
Because it'll save you time and it'll save you a headache later on. So if you do that earlier, it'll give you more time to do the things that you enjoy doing or that you want to do. Like that's it. So those are my two.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Extremely important. You all have heard it. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Automating because it will save you lots of time and lots of stress.
Oh, and money too. Let's throw money in there because yes, it will save you. So I really appreciate you having me. No, thank you so much for reaching out to just have this conversation, have this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Guys, if you want to find Shakeia, if you want to get your business in her platform, please reach out. Here's her information, www.govlia.com, www.govlia, or Govlia, right?
Yes, Lia, we're fancy.
Lia, we're fancy. I love it. Govlia.com, and get in there, and I hope you take to heart everything she shared. She's done a phenomenal thing, and has grown our company tremendously. Yeah. So that's it for today. Any parting words, Shakeia?
I was just going to say connect and follow us on social media as well. I always post things, but also have like some pretty engaging content as well. So just connect with us, follow us. It's govlia.com. I mean, govlia on Instagram, LinkedIn. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. So just connect with us and stay updated. If you have any questions, always here to support. So
love it. See you guys next time. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye.